Good morning, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and today I'm going to show you how to build a jig. Some people call it a fixture, but what I do, I take a 1/4 inch thick piece of MDF. You can buy it at any Home Depot. The Home Depots around here in Central Texas sell it in 2-foot by 4-foot sheets. Home Depot will give you a 1 cut for free. So you could have them cut it to the size of your laser bed. This sheet is 18 by 24, the size of my laser bed. And here's the spoons I just ran this morning. I marked an X in the top so I'd always know that that's the top in the corner. Now I could have probably squeezed some more spoons in here, but doing 7 at a time is a lot more time saving than doing one. And it's really easy, and I've got these are raw wood, so I have to sand them. So after I take the first 7 out, it takes about 5 minutes to run this job. That way I've got 5 minutes to sand the spoons off and blow them off with compressed air and get the sawdust out. But here is my jig. And I always put on the top of the deal outside my workspace so it will not run. I run at 100 power, 55 speed, and 300 dots per inch. 300 dots per inch are going to save you a lot of time. It's going to basically cut this in half, your time in half if you run it at it's going to cut it in half if you run at 600 DPI. And on some logos, you really can't tell the difference. Now, if it was a big text like this word run, and I actually turn these spoons over and actually run the word cook on this for this lady, and they're a broad, deep font, so I actually run those at 400 dots per inch. Still saves me a little bit of time, but you can't see the dots. So all I did was lay this out, and what I would do is, let's get rid of all these, and I would bring in your jig. I'm not going to say you're ever going to do a spoon, but it really helps. So all you have to do is measure your spoon, the big part of the spoon versus the handle. Now I'm purposely made this jig a little short so the handle actually runs over the edge, but it has a hole in it and it's flat, so it kind of stays flat. It's a rounded spoon, so it kind of stays flat, but you could have made it the whole distance. The spoon fits in there nicely. So what I would do is take a scrap piece of MDF and I would cut out this shape to make sure that your spoon fits, and then you could adjust it before you make your other ones. Now in this jig, let me ungroup it. I've got this circle. So, we'll go back to that. Let's group these together. I'm going to arrange and group, and then I'm going to change my offset to 0.25. It's already set there, and I'm going to make a duplicate. And I'm going to move this down probably about there. I'm going to make another duplicate, and I'm going to put it here. So I didn't make a duplicate. Maybe get it away from there a little bit. Make a duplicate. Now for ease of making this jig, you could do it with the numbers. I actually did make a duplicate, I guess. Let's move this one out of the way. But what I'm going to do, I want the spoons kind of be lined up. It doesn't really matter because they're going to basically run one at a time. But this way you can kind of have them lined up, and we can leave a little bit more space there. Take this one, put it there, and continue. I'm not going to make all 7 to make the video shorter. But now what I'm going to do, I'm going to ungroup. Let's get rid of this index line. I'm going to ungroup everything. And I'm going to grab just this circle. I'm going to hold down the shift key. I'm going to grab that circle. I'm still holding down the shift key. And as you can see, it says I've got 4 objects on layer 1. Now, I don't have a printer or a laser hooked up to this computer, but then you would go to print and select And what it's going to do, it's going to give you a little preview of the ones you've got selected. Well, it's not going to work because I don't have a printer. But anyway, if you have all 4 of those hooked up, and if you have a red dot pointer on your laser, you can run that job, leave the door of your laser open so it will not fire, and it will run these 4 circles. And then that way you kind of know that your text is inside those. You know your text is inside that circle, but you'll know that your layout is good. And then you can come back and then run. I would manually focus on one of these and kind of make sure your laser bed's even. Maybe focus on that one and that one. If it's a little bit off, hit it between the 2. If one of them's a little higher, make this one a little higher and that one a little lower. But anyway, you run this job and you run 7 or whatever. But this is cut out of 1/4 inch MDF. I like MDF. It cuts like butter. On my 60-watt laser, it cuts at 100 power at 7 speed. Because it is, it's a 1/4 inch thick, but it'll cut it cleanly like butter. And the good thing about MDF, it will not really bend or warp with moisture like a piece of plywood might. So it's going to, and it's really stable and it's going to stay flat. I hope that.